Discord bot verification has been one of the biggest goals in Discord bot development for a while now. Getting your bot verified by Discord shows that not only has your bot been spreading amongst servers, but it also proves that your bot is put together well enough and stable to be accepted by Discord standards. Even though many want to verify their bot, a recent poll I did on YouTube, subscribe to stay updated, has shown that less than 15% of users actually own a Discord verified bot. So today I'll be showing you guys 5 quick and easy tips to grow your bot into a successful one. Also, stick around for later in the video because I managed to get the owner of one of the biggest bots on Discord to answer a couple exclusive questions about bot development. The biggest mistake I see new developers make is their first goal is to create an all-in-one or multi-purpose bot, which may seem like a good idea at first. I mean, like, who wouldn't want one perfect bot to handle everything in the server? But the thing that many people gloss over is that how hard it actually is to maintain the bot and create it. You want all the features, you want to add constant updates, and you're gonna need to push constant bug fixes because of the insane amount of just resources, the code, and the commands that you're gonna have in it, and things will be breaking, especially when Discord keeps on adding new and new features that you're gonna have to update constantly. All of this without mentioning that thousands of other developers have already created similar bots with the same idea as you, and some with even full-fledged dashboards, making it even harder for your bot to stand out. The key component in actually creating your bot and making it stand out from others is it has to have some variety, but if everyone does the same type of bot, that's all gone. And lastly, even if you do manage to make your bot stand out and keep it stable, hosting the bot will be even worse, as the number of resources required to keep the dashboard, bot, and database running all at once with minimal lag is very, very difficult and will most likely require some sort of money. And I'm not gonna just assume, but like, not many small aspiring developers have access to this kind of money and to afford a personal VPS or a Raspberry Pi to host their bot. That's why I suggest making a different type of bot. Making your bot stand out can be very difficult, and this is where you have to unleash your creativity. A good trick that I found that works is taking an existing concept and adding a twist to it to make yourself different. For example, I started development on a new giveaway bot, and I found a blatant problem right off the bat. Old giveaway bots that were still being used widely still use reactions instead of buttons. Now, this has many problems to it because staff or corrupt staff may be able to tamper with the giveaway by deleting all of the reactions, which could just make it so the giveaway doesn't work. And so I created mine with buttons, which allows you to just do so much more, and it prevents giveaway tampering. I've also seen people create bots that allow 2 random people to talk to each other, but not in the traditional way where you can type something and someone else on their channel could, I guess, see it and back and forth. Instead, this uses the new Discord API's voice channel text thing, voice channel recording, and I think that's what it's called. But essentially, it's able to record your voice and save that as a file, and then it sends that same voice or plays that same file to someone else completely across servers. And this basically allows real-time voice channel communication even though you never actually know the person. Now, this can be used for multiple different ways, and it's kind of a cool concept. And these changes and features are what help bots get added to other servers, as they have exclusive features and that are typically very fun to play with or useful depending on the type of bot. Now, before we get to the third tip, and please don't skip ahead, this isn't an ad or sponsorship, but all I want to say is if you could consider subscribing, please do so. Over 75% of the viewers aren't subscribed, and that's kind of a cliche line, but you don't want to be part of that 75%. No one likes that 75%, so don't be that part. And it really helps out. I spent over 30 hours editing this video, contacting developers, and getting it for you guys. I'll also be making more videos like this, so stay tuned for that. Here's the moment that everyone's been waiting for. A little while back, I asked around a dozen bot developers with bots over 1,000 servers to answer some questions. Around 6 responded and 4 actually followed through with answers. Big thank you to Cons for helping me with that. And so I've got the questions right in front of me here, and this will not only let you know a bit more about the developers themselves and what to expect when your bot gets verified, but also some challenges that they had to overcome. So I'm not going to stall any longer, and let's get right into these. So for the first one, I asked the owner of BYEEEE, the one and only Cons, and it's a Discord bot in over 5,000 servers, and essentially it's like a chat bot and leveling system all mixed together. It's really cool and it's really fun. By the way, all the links to these bots will be down in the description. Please show them support. They're a really cool bot. But let's get straight to the questions. And the first question is, what are your biggest things to take into consideration before starting a Discord bot?
I think one of the biggest things to take into consideration before making a Discord bot, in my opinion, is the idea. If you have a good idea, you might find more success in the outcome, as users will have something new to use and enjoy. If you make a bot that does not stand out from other bots, users will most likely not use it and could potentially demotivate you. Go wild and try new things. Moving on to the technical side of development, before you start programming you should be at least somewhat fluent in the language you are using to create the bot. Failure to do this could cause many blocks down the road, which could have been prevented if you had just spent a little time learning the basics. I can speak from experience. Try to gather a little bit of money so that you can buy things to help the bot. This doesn't have to be a crazy amount, could be less than $5. This money would go towards renting out a VPS to host the bot on. Those free hosting services aren't usually the best idea when it comes to hosting verified bots.
Thank you very much for not only helping contact devs, but also answering that question. The next developer is the owner of Invite Management, a bot in over 9,000 servers, and you guessed it, built to manage invites. And the question I have for you is, how did you manage your bot with updates, server costs, advertisements, and etc.?
It really depends what sort of bot you have. Bots which have tons and tons of features obviously will take more time and effort to maintain. For us, we don't really have a schedule of when we're going to work on an update or anything. It's sort of just whenever we like. But it's gotten to a point now where we could technically just leave the bot running and not update it for months. We tend to go through huge dev cycles where we spend 1 to 2 weeks working on new features, then the next few days fixing bugs, and then we won't do anything for another month or so. As for server costs, I think we're somewhere in the region of about £15 a month. Smaller bots can easily host themselves on much cheaper solutions, such as Raspberry Pis, or even super cheap VPS. Although I have heard of people who have bots in over 15k servers who have had no problems with hosting them on Raspberry Pis.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. And one more question that I have for you is, what is the most difficult part of the bot development process for you?
When I first made Invite Management, I used a program that required zero coding knowledge. Soon enough I realized this was just a really bad idea. So I invited my friend Smadger to come along for the ride. Over the next year, I worked on Invite Management with him, spending practically all my spare time learning about software development. The hardest thing about this was jumping directly into a project which required knowledge in sections of software dev that I had zero ideas about. For people who don't know anything about coding, I'd 100% recommend at the very least learning the basics of your chosen language. It'll save you a lot of pain.
Thanks for your time with that, AAU. I hope I said that correctly. And last but certainly not least, we have devs of 2 bots you have to have heard of: Wick and Reaction Rules. Wick handles lots of anti-raid or anti-nuking systems. It's a really smart bot, capable of a lot of things, and Reaction Rules, you guessed it, it can handle reaction rules. It's all really cool. And both of these bots have a combined server count of over 900,000 servers, which is absolutely insane. And their user count is probably in the million. And so now my question for you is, how did you handle the massive growth with your bot, and did it take a toll on your health in any way? Finiki, I hope I said that correctly, the owner of Wick, responded with,
I was ready for the massive growth as Wick was coded and kept being developed in a way where it was always able to handle higher loads than expected. It did kinda consume all of my free time for a very long time, and it did make me spend money at start to keep it going. Because of the nature of my bot, it put a lot of mental stress on me, so you'll need to balance it with IRL activities.
Big thank you for that. And the next one is for Eric. What was the biggest mistake you made when you first started Discord bot development?
My biggest mistake was to copy-paste code and not learn it on my own.
And ultimately, thanks to all of the developers who participated in this little Q&A. And what this really shows is that even huge bot developers have made mistakes in the past, and it's okay if you make a couple, but you can just see how much work goes into developing huge Discord bots, and it's not always as easy as it seems. not that big, and it can be really unnecessary unless you have a huge bug that you need to fix, of course. And it would always put unwanted stress on you. As many of the developers said previously, not everything has to be done to a crazy extent. So make sure you go outside, touch some grass, and actually feel comfortable with the bot you're making. Because more often than not, pressure from yourself is what results in not that good of a bot. It forces you to be creative even though you're not really being that creative. You're just thinking things up on the spot, and they're not always good ideas. So remember, it should always be quality over quantity. So it doesn't matter whether you have 5 really good commands or like 100 commands, right? It will matter more about the 5 really good commands because they're actually going to enhance the user's experience. Here we are, the final tip. This will be less of a tip for things to add and do, but instead a way to integrate, or a tip to integrate the other tips together. I'll show you things like how I implemented these tips into one of my giveaway bots, as I mentioned in the first few tips, and I'll also show you how, or just some tools that I use to keep on track and manage all my things. There's a lot of tools like this, but what I prefer is Trello. Essentially, Trello is like a board, and there are 3 different boards on it. Each board has a different meaning, and you can always customize them and add more boards. One of them is to do, the other one's doing, and the other one is finished. And this all lets you manage which tasks you're doing, and you can add like I guess small little tags to them, or so you know which one is in which category, and other descriptions. Huge bots like Carbot, DankMemer, and pretty much every single big bot use this type of organization method because it's really easy for others to collab on, as you can share the Trello board also. It's also very important to utilize all of Discord's features to grow your bot. Discord has slowly been making it so you can discover bots more easily with the recent add to server button, and even app discovery, where it's essentially server discovery but for a bot. And make sure you utilize all of these, add a bot description, all of that, just so people can get the most out of your bot before actually having your bot. They can see exactly what it's about, and so they don't have to take a guess every single time. Also, it's also important to stick to what your bot is about. Don't go overboard, and don't try to, like, once again, create into an all-in-one bot. Instead, ask others that might be using your bot, or a couple of your friends, on what features they would like to see, so you could tailor it better to other users. And this will really help you add new features, but also stay on track with your bot's theme.